Bullshit.
It's the No BS Marketing Show. I'm Dave Mastovich. Today we have the first ever No BS Marketing Boot Camper at MASSolutions as our podcast guest. What is a marketing boot camper, No BS Marketing Boot Camper? Well, over the course of the 14 years of the company, we had a number of interns, and we found that the intern situation was not working as well as we would have liked, that we couldn't reach a happy medium. Sometimes it seemed like the interns really didn't want to do a whole lot. Other times it seemed like we couldn't get them enough work to do things, and we didn't want to just have the intern be someone that would go get coffee for people before a meeting. And a lot of times we just got frustrated because there didn't seem to be the right fit. So we then came up with, I came up with the No Bullshit Internship Manifesto. And that is a lengthy document that I showed Steve Tanzilli, the dean of the business school at Point Park, and he actually just said, wow. And I said, wow as in I'm an ass, or wow as in that's down the right path? And he said, kind of both. So I said, okay, Steve, tell me what you're thinking. And he said, I like that you want to have accountability, and I like that you want to make sure that they're immersed in the organization. Makes sense. Tone it down just a little bit. So I rewrote it, toned it down a little bit. But here's basically the thought of the No Bullshit Marketing Boot Camper. We don't go out and seek a lot of interns. We work with a couple of schools. And so we call it a No BS Marketing Boot Camper because we want it to be truly a boot camp experience. We don't even care if you get credits for it with your college. We want to make it, you're immersed in the company, you're involved with every senior level person at the company, you're pulled into client work, and you are able to be a part of the podcast, be a part of the marketing platform of our company, and get to spend some time with me. I'm not claiming that's good or bad, but you're going to spend time with a senior leader and other senior leaders. And we start off with a couple of rules. The first rule is the Google rule. When you're about to ask a question, Google it, because that will lead to a better question. And the second rule is that you got to pay some attention to detail. So that's what led us to the amazing Sophie Eureka. And she was actually introduced to us by Annie Spiewak, and they brought this Robert Morris pride to MASSolutions. They got Jonathan Potts to be on the podcast, and he got like 19 of her friends to be involved somehow, some way, shape, or form with MASSolutions, and it's been positive. But the biggest crown jewel that Annie brought us was Sophie Eureka, the first No Bullshit Marketing Boot Camper. Sophie, welcome to your second appearance on the No BS Marketing Show.
Hi, Dave. You make me feel special. I'm like blushing over here. You're saying I'm important and stuff.
Well, tell everybody about your first appearance on the No Bullshit Marketing Show and how exciting that was.
So Annie and I were trying to make intros for, I think it was the 3rd anniversary podcast, and it was just us in the little room, and it did not go well. We we laughed the entire time, and if you've heard it, it's comical.
Annie came to me and said, man, you should just hear this when millennials have a microphone. And as soon as she played it for me, I said, just make that into its own episode. Annie's here as well. Annie.
Hey, everyone. I'm only allowed to talk 3 times.
And I'll give you.
You'll only hear from me 2 more times, but you'll hear me giggling because come on.
We'll give you 3 more since that's just the intro. And because I said Annie and I, when we get together on the show, we just talk so much we lose track of time. We actually taped one episode that we can't even air because we laughed the entire time.
We literally were just cracking up. And it's like an hour and a half of just Dave and I laughing.
I said even our family wouldn't want to hear that one. So I said we have to not take away Sophie's time because Annie and I tend to talk quite a bit. We're verbose. So let's go back to your first day. I want to hear this. I'm going to talk long in this question so you can think about your first day. So that's one of the things you have to do as a good podcast interviewer. You talk for a while to buy them time so they can think about the question. So your first day, I want to hear what your impressions were when you walk in the door and you meet the crew of Bonita and Mike Gaddy, Paul Sandberg, me, and you already have known Annie. But walk back to your first time when you walked in the door at MASSolutions.
It definitely wasn't as intimidating as I thought it was going to be. I guess probably because Annie was there, so she made me feel a little bit more comfortable. And I had met Mike before my first day when I came. I had came in and talked to him like a week before, I think. But I was nervous being in like the main conference room in the office because everyone's walking through and I didn't want to be doing the wrong thing, and I wasn't sure what exactly I was supposed to be doing at the time because it was my first day, so I was getting my foot in the door. So I don't know. You were nice to me. Everyone was nice to me. Bonita's nice. Paul's nice. So I didn't have a problem with meeting everyone. I think once I got to know everyone, after that first day, I got more comfortable. I wasn't your welcoming crew.
Well, one of the things that we've had on the show a couple times is Mike Gaddy, and Annie and I and Bonita, the three of us, tell Mike Gaddy stories because Mike is one of the kindest-hearted souls in the world.
Definitely.
And he's a very caring person. He works super hard, but he also has a way about him that
right, you got to get used to it. You don't know, like, if he's being serious or, like, joking with some of the stuff he says. So it can be intimidating for sure.
That's your first day, your first impressions, got to meet everybody. I'm happy that you found it was somewhat welcoming. Talk a little bit about the work that you did, what you thought was valuable, so that we as a company can make sure for the next boot camper we continue to do what brought you the most value.
I think getting to be involved with a little bit of everything was really helpful for me. So I did the intel calls. I got to help you prep for a meeting, just little things here and there. I'm trying to think specifically what I thought was most valuable. I think everything, because I got to get my hands into a little bit of everybody. So I got projects from Bonita, projects from you, projects from Annie, Mike, everybody gave me a little bit of something.
You got to be involved with the NoBS platform, so you got to understand this crazy thing called Vistage speaking.
Yes.
What's your impression of that, having the chance to deal a little bit with Vistage chairs, Vistage members?
They aren't, like, when I got to plan or help plan with your lunch that you had, it wasn't as intimidating. People were nice to me. I was expecting, like, really formal, like in school, I'm in a class now that my teacher's, like, telling us how to write professional emails. And I'm like, I don't have to do A, B, and C because people respond to you like, yeah, thanks. It's not like, yes, thank you for your time. Yes. I would like to do blah, blah, blah. So it gave
you more real world. Now,
yeah, definitely.
So you got the chance to talk to a lot of the CEOs in my group. Then you also got the chance to talk to Vistage chairs when I was out speaking across the country. And you were able to actually even reach out on my behalf to a lot of the people that I was speaking to. Mm-hmm. So you then got to get the feel for rejection because a lot of people blew it off, right?
Yeah. The scariest part about that was I'd quadruple checked how many times if I spelled everything right, if the grammar was right. Annie told me you have to make sure that everything's right before you send it, and I'm like, hopefully it is. Can you double check it for me? So.
Well, most of the time it was right. There was only once or twice I came back and said, "Hey, do you see how this would look if you were
right receiving it?" Yeah,
you were open to feedback, which is important. How about the chance to sit in on some client meetings? Did you find that? I remember there was a couple of times you sat in on vendors pitching us, and then client meetings. How did you feel about those meetings? She's laughing. She's laughing because I know which story she's thinking about.
We're all laughing about because
there was a couple that
you just have to understand that when you put us three in a room together, no matter who we're with, we're still gonna have a good time. And as a vendor, word to the wise, you just got to have fun with us. But, Sophie, I want to know, what you think about seeing and this is because I talk to you, I talk to a lot of people that still go to Robert Morris, and they all say the same thing, right? Like, oh, man, I'm in this business class, or I'm in this professional communication class, I'm in this Intel course. It's so stuffy. Like, I can't send an email that's like, hello, I hope you're having a swell day. And the reason I am writing this email is because I would like to blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Sincerely and best regards. And again, I hope you're still having a wonderful day, comma, and cease be walk. And I want to get your feedback and your thoughts on sort of what you saw with all of our daily interactions. And it's different. Like we're a small company and we all have a lot of fun. And I think this space you're allowed to really be yourself, maybe more so than others. But I still think it's true. And what you thought and sort of how you'll take that into consideration as you kind of get into your professional career and what your thoughts are versus what they're teaching and what you've experienced.
Right. Well, I think being in the small company too, that it's just easier for everyone to be themselves. It doesn't have to be robotic, and we're all humans. We're all here working, doing the same thing, spending our time. So, sure, if my very first email to Dave about the boot camp was formal, hi, I'm Sophie Eureka, I'm blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But once you get to know people, I don't think what they're teaching us is everything you do is so formal. And I guess in some businesses it is. I'm not saying it's informal here, but I think that there has to be a better balance with what they're teaching people at school. Like at Robert Morris, it's very, you know.
Yeah, I think humanizing.
Yes,
humanizing
exactly.
it. And that's something I think Dave has taught really well here, is that we're all humans, and like and it's not even really about making mistakes. Mm-hmm. It's about like interacting as humans, right? I think that's like a big takeaway.
Dave's biggest thing that I always think, he goes, here's a learning point. Like it's never like, you messed up, you should have done this.
Yes.
It's here's for next time that if you want to, be better at sending an email, scheduling a meeting, things like that.
Building a spreadsheet.
Yes. It's a learning point.
We don't do spreadsheets, us low Ds. You should know that by now. I'm just kidding.
I hit her with this one. I said, here's a teachable moment. What would you think of, and I said, what would you think if you were in the shoes getting this spreadsheet? Wouldn't it help to get this or that? And then I didn't hear back from her. So I thought maybe she was offended, but it's just trying to help, because there's a couple points to what you said. I think the first is one of the struggles across the country is the difficulty in being authentic, because people it's tied to our self-esteem. So we all have some self-esteem challenges, and we think we have to be different than we were. And I know I battled it myself, because I came up through the corporate side, so I couldn't really be myself completely, but I still felt I was true to my core values, and I felt I was authentic. But then I actually was always called a maverick or a rebel or crazy or speaks his mind or whatever. But you just have to be able to be yourself, and that's one of the problems that I think causes disenchantment in the workplace and in life, is when you feel you have to be someone else.
Yeah, definitely. I guess it depends on the field you choose to be into. Like you said, corporate, it's different. But
sure. But that's why you have to use things like predictive index so you match up, because like if you would go into accounting, so if I would have to advise you not to do so.
No, there's no way. Besides the fact that I'm not very good at math.
So we are here at the No BS Marketing Show with some of Robert Morris's finest, and they are Annie Spiewak and Sophie Eureka, and she was our first ever No BS Marketing Boot Camper. As I said at the beginning, we had frustrations over the years with internships, so we said we're not going to do internships, we're going to do boot camps where we provide an immersion in every facet of real marketing, from marketing intel to segmentation to positioning to activation plans to get shit done to big idea messaging to messaging pillars, and tracking all of that stuff with strategic KPIs and tactical marketing metrics. So we wanted to give someone a chance to do that for 3-4 months, rather than worrying about, did we meet the standards of an internship, which is kind of BS a lot of times. We found it to not be great. So Soph was our first No BS Marketing Boot Camper. We wanted to hear from her and hear about her experience. What was it like working in downtown Pittsburgh, based on your experiences where you grew up and being at Robert Morris and things like that?
It was definitely fun. I've always loved Pittsburgh. My family is actually from Weirton, West Virginia, so not far from here. I grew up driving through the city to get there. But compared to where I grew up, I live in the middle of nowhere. If anybody knows where Mount St. Mary's University is, that is my front yard. It is fields and mountains, and Annie laughs at me because I have to say I'm going into town. So, I got to drive 5 minutes to get to the grocery store or.
It's not 5 minutes. It was like 15. I just need to interject that.
Okay. You're down to your final time. So we're going to give you one more.
But no, it's definitely a different feel, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to stay in Pittsburgh for the summer is because I knew there was more opportunity for me.
Mm-hmm.
I could have drove an hour to get to, Gaithersburg,
Mm-hmm.
which is where my mom works. She does it every day. I don't know how. But I'm 20 minutes away from here, so it was nice. It's a nice commute in, and besides paying for parking, which that hurt my wallet a little bit, but that's okay.
Yeah, parking is what, $17 a day? Yeah.
The parking guys were like, I can't believe you're paying this. I'm like, I don't know what else to do.
The next big question ties to one of the more challenging things at MASSolutions. It's a daily basis, and that is deciding what to do for lunch and then doing lunch. So Annie's laughing. I'm gonna give you your chance. I'm gonna give you your chance because
So funny.
it is more than just getting lunch. It is quite stressful. So what are your thoughts about the lunch process? All right, a little bit of backstory before she goes. I'm well known for my hangry tendencies. So by like about 10:30, 10:45, Mike Gaddy knows to say, what is everybody doing for lunch? But then from that point on, it gets crazy. So go ahead.
Well, Dave will come out and say, well, I'm ready for lunch, but I don't want this place or this place or this place. I'm not going here.
That's what everybody's already listed is like those 3 places.
I won't say it on.
No, I will. I used to go to Gateway Cafe until there was a literal bug in my salad.
Which is precisely why, look, you have to give me some credit. I've been at this 14 years. Gateway Cafe, zero chance of me going there.
Okay, honestly, there's 2 things I've learned that you and Mike are always correct about. Mike, it's like processes, timing. Like, we joke about Sophie not calling 3 weeks in advance for these intel calls because she's like, oh, I have like another week, and she waited, and I mean, she still got them done, but she was stressed out, and she was like, oh my god, I don't know if any of these people are gonna answer. Like, just listen to Mike. He's already done it, and he knows it, and he's timed it out exactly. He's the process guy. Just listen. He's always right. Dave, it's like he's always right about what's about to happen. Like, what it's like, Murphy's Law. Like, what's about to go wrong, like, will go wrong, and it'll go horribly wrong, especially if Dave's using technology. That's another one. And Dave just knows, like, don't go to Gateway Cafe. I got a bug in my salad. He knows, like, a lot about people and what's going to happen in meetings. But especially being hangry, he could not be more correct about.
Annie, you know that I'll predict exactly what someone's going to say in a meeting, and then when it happens, I just look out of the corner.
But that's, like, why Dave and I now have to sit on opposite sides of the room because, like, perfect example. Dave will be talking about someone or something, being like, oh, I just knew this was going to happen. I said this 2 weeks ago. And then we literally run smack dab into the middle of them. Market Square. They call in the middle of a podcast. Like, it just happens. And so the lunch process, like, Mike's no help, and neither are you. And neither is Benita. Just being a vegetarian.
Yes.
She just detracts from it.
All right, so I come out and I say, when Suzanne worked here a lot, Suzanne wanted to go to Simply Greek. And so did you ever have that happen, that you go somewhere for months so often that you then can't go there for like a year or two? Did you ever have that happen? Mm-hmm. So I would come out and say, I'm not doing that Simply Greek. I know you guys like that. So I'd say no to that. And then I'd say no to Gateway Cafe. But other than that, I don't want to do Jimmy John's either. Mike and I used to do Jimmy John's like 3 times a week. It was horrible. So go on, lunch process.
I'm trying to think. I'm like lost in what I want to say.
It's how does it start and how does it end and how long does it take and what is the stress level?
There is a stress level. There's a stress level over lunch because while they're pissing around, I'm going, just do something because you know I'm going to be hungry. Our listeners are like, what the hell are they talking about?
Okay, I'll walk
lunch
this
for?
through and you're going to cut me off, okay? That's going to be what's going to happen. Okay, so it starts off, Dave's like, I'm hungry, what are we doing? But before that, Mike has already started the process.
Right, we have 3 or 4 places that we could possibly go to.
And Mike always starts like this. This is me typing.
Never turns to look at you.
Hey, what are you doing for lunch? And I'm like, so excited that I get human interaction. Oh, I don't know. What are you thinking? I just don't want to pick. That's my decision.
He doesn't turn right or left.
I wish people could see this. And then Dave comes out. It's like, the door. Still haven't.
Because we need WD-40.
That we still have not fixed. Hey, what are we doing for lunch? I am not going to Simply Greek, Jimmy John's. Mike, don't even say the Gateway Cafe. And Benita, are you just going to eat your nuts, berries, and bird food?
That's it.
And then
The best is I started packing my lunch, and Bonita goes, just leave it in the fridge for tomorrow. Mike will pay for your lunch.
she just volunteers him because here's the thing is that we stick Benita out in that front room by herself sometimes, and
she has a high B, so it's absolutely not the
wisest.
wisest.
You to eat lunch with her. I'm the same way. So if Benita listens to this,
No, you have a high B. Yeah. We'd never know that.
I'm not making fun of you, Benita. I'm very thankful that we can eat lunch together. So then we order, okay? But here's my favorite part, and Sophie, I know, laughs about it because we've talked about it. We go and we get lunch, and us high Bs are like ready to sit down at a table and eat together. Dave and Mike grab their stuff, and then you hear doors closed. They're like, that was enough human interaction.
You know how hard it was for me knowing that you guys wanted to converse, so I would force myself to sit there and eat lunch and talk.
Yeah, that's why we had to talk about something that we could get you like in on, like something like sports, music, whatever just happened in the world. So we get everyone hyped up because our high B's like we're like,
yes.
How can we get everyone involved in this? It's just a stressful process.
It
You're
is.
even stressed after you eat because you're like, that was so intense. That's why I always say I'll go get it because I'm like, that was so intense. And you walk it out.
Isn't that sad? That's a testament to the good things at the company that we do because the work for the clients isn't as stressful as lunch.
I have to say, so this is, and speaking of food, and we're talking about the internship process and how you said internships are dumb, and I agree. The way internships are set up are completely backwards. It's I need to get class credit, not I need to get real world experience, and then I think it impacts the employer. And you're right. Like, there are times where you might not have enough work, and so you're like, oh, go get coffee. Like, that's not an internship. Mm-mm. So it was a Friday. It was this really stressful week that we all had. We were all overflowed, over capacity, and it's Friday morning. It's kind of nice out. And Mike's like, I'm going to buy everyone Rockin' Joe's, right? Because Mike is like the nicest person ever, even though he never turns around or he'll ignore you dead in the eye because he's like, Google it first. Sophie, why don't you tell how this all went down?
I walked in, and I usually came in early on Fridays, but I came in early this Friday too. Early for me at least. But I came in, I made myself this big coffee before I came to work in one of my like Yeti cups. So it was going to stay hot. I had a bunch of stuff to do. I came in early to get it done. Annie and Mike started talking about coffee, and they're like, well, you can go. Mike hands me his card. So I walk across the street.
No, Mike says, I want to buy everybody Rockin' Joe's.
Yes, everyone, yes. But I had already made myself, like, I made my coffee great that morning, and it was all ready to go. And I was like, I'll take a walk. So I walked a couple blocks, bought Annie and Mike their coffee, and brought it back. And they were like, where's yours? I was like, mine's been sitting on the table this whole time. I already had it. And they were like, what do you mean now we look like dicks?
Beep. Nice one, so.
I thought she was going to go down the path when they made her walk and she had nice dress shoes on and it poured.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, no. But this is the one where we felt like huge a-holes because Mike was like, oh, I'm going to do this really nice thing and buy everyone, like, their favorite coffee on a Friday morning when everyone's had this, like, really stressful week. And, like, Sophie comes back and it's just like, here you guys go. And we're like, well, now we look like
Nick, you guys were like the stereotype.
Yeah. And we felt awful. And Mike and I, Sophie left that day. Mike was like, I feel so bad. I'm like, honestly, same, but she should have just gone with it anyway. You should have just bought another coffee.
So what happened the day, I wasn't there for that or this other one. What happened the day that you had to go somewhere and got caught in a torrential downpour?
Oh, this was a stressful lunch day. So it was just me, Mike, and Bonita, and we decided that we were going to get I don't remember what it was called, the Mexican place in Market Square. And Mike goes, well, it's looking pretty rainy out. It was like sunny. It just started to get gray. You might want to bring an umbrella.
Again, Mike tells you to do something.
I guess I'll bring it. I don't want to carry it because I didn't think it was going to rain. And as soon as I take 5 steps out of the office, it's like thunder rolling. I'm like, oh no. I start walking real quick, get to the restaurant before it starts raining, grab the stuff, and I come back and it is pouring. Like people are hiding under the porches and stuff at the restaurants and like huddled together. I'm like, I'm gonna run back with this. My feet were it was raining sideways. It wasn't just like straight. It was a full storm in the middle of the day, and then as soon as I got back in the office, it stopped.
And Bonita texts me as if I would know this, and she tells me the name brand of shoe, and she said she ruined her whatever's, and I go, Bonita, that doesn't do anything for me. I don't know what that means, but do I need to reimburse her for shoes?
But they felt so bad because we were at that meeting. We came back, and you had just left, and Bonita's like, I feel so bad. Dave's like, what happened? Like, did you guys yell? Like, what could have possibly gone wrong in like the 3 hours that Dave and I were away? And they're like, she got caught in a torrential downpour, and her shoes are ruined. Dave's like, oh, that's what you're talking about. I think, what were you wearing, your Birkenstocks?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she just sends me that. She goes, the Birkenstocks are ruined, and I go, what the
Is that a client?
Like, huh?
Oh, did we get a new client? Like, was that a lead? And so he's like, well, I'll just buy her new ones. I feel terrible. And I mean, they're fine because they're Birkenstocks. Like, they're like made for like life and hippies, which Sophie is. And she's like, oh my God, like we sent her out. And Mike just comes out. This is another classic Mike Gaddy move. In his office, you don't think he's paying attention. He's not in the conversation, typing away, doing something productive that maybe we all should be doing. And he comes out, I told her to bring an umbrella.
Yeah. You don't.
I
you
did.
Don't go
It was
against-
raining sideways though, so it was not much help.
So we are with Sophie Eureka of Robert Morris, the lacrosse team, and a stellar academic performer at Robert Morris, and not a morning person, so she's yawned like 4 times today. I shouldn't say not a morning person. When you're in college, 9 o'clock is like 4 o'clock to adults. So we are happy to have her at the No BS Marketing Show to talk about the boot camp. She's brought a lot of value, very positive attitude, high energy, and it's exactly what the boot camp was meant to be, was to be able to give a win-win for both parties. And we feel it was really a strong performance for us. You brought value. You were able to take work off of people that saved them time. You're also able to do things we weren't doing. There was things that we had on that parking lot list of, hey, when you get around to it. And normally that doesn't work when you hand off tangible work to an intern. So we were very appreciative that you truly were a boot camper, and we hope you got tremendous value from it too.
I did. I'm very thankful for the opportunity. I learned a lot this summer. I feel like after I graduate in May, I'll be able to go and find a job and say, I did all of this. I can fit into your company because I've done this with MASSolutions.
What would you say that your biggest takeaway was from the boot camp? And I'm asking this not just because like I want to know, hey, like what'd you learn from your internship? It was more centered around Dave teaches a lot, right? He doesn't always know that he is, and that's probably part of being, one, a leader, but two, a coach. He is constantly instilling different beliefs in you. You see Mike working, you see Bonita, Paul, Mally. There's a lot of things that you can take away at any moment, and I know personally I felt like each month I've had a really big takeaway, and they've all been different. Like, one is being human, right? We've talked a lot about that today. Another month might be working through conflict, setting expectations with a client, or it might just be like waking up and being like, okay, I need to be honest with my capacity today. What can I do? And so I'm curious to see maybe what your big takeaway was for the boot camp experience as a whole.
I think my biggest takeaway is learning my strengths and weaknesses and being honest about what I can do and can't do. So, for example, my big project for the summer was our podcast spreadsheet.
Yes, I had forgot about that.
No, you didn't.
And it's just something that if I sat down and took the time to do, I could could have put more work into it than I would have. And I should have been honest, and being honest now that if I was sitting down the whole week and that's the only thing I did and I read all the blogs and listened to all the podcasts, I could have. But I felt like I was prioritizing other things more than, other work that everyone was giving me. I put on the back burner. So things that I didn't necessarily like to do, I still had to do them. And I didn't get them done. Some of it I didn't get done. So I think just being honest with the people that you work with and saying, like you said, I've done too much today. I can't sit and work on this project anymore. I've learned that I'd like to be flexible with stuff, but I still have to push myself to do the things that I don't necessarily want to do or aren't fun or
just hard.
Just hard,
training.
yeah.
That's a great lesson to learn at a young age, because there are people that are 50 that still haven't admitted that. So that's good, because that's really what the difference is about success. And you both know that from being highly successful at your athletic careers, is you both put time into lacrosse when others weren't, and that's what made it different. You both did drills in lacrosse that you didn't like, and that's what made it different. And you both put up with shit from your coach that you didn't like, because that's what made you different. So now you learn that you have to apply that in the workplace too.
Definitely.
So the next company that gets you is going to be fortunate, because they have someone that's going to be honest about strengths and weaknesses and be able to leverage that.
Yep.
All right. Was there anything you thought we'd ask you that we didn't?
I don't think so. I wasn't expecting the lunch thing. I'm stressed thinking about the lunch now.
Yeah, because we're gonna have to do
Right, it's coming up
here soon.
I'm
So
stressed 'cause I'm sweating.
I know, it's hot.
the podcast studio has this great air conditioner that we have to shut off when we tape, and
Our mics are so good.
and so now it's really hot in here. So okay, so let's do this then. Close with let's see. I'm not sure. So was there anything we thought we'd ask us? And the answer you said was not really. And you gave us the great final takeaway. Annie, your thought on the No BS Marketing Boot Camp and what we should do to recruit the next one.
Ooh, this is something I have thought about, so I'm glad you asked. I think that I love your idea that we don't really seek them out, right? MASSolution shouldn't seek them out. I'm impressed with someone that would say, hey, I've been looking to get some work. I really want to get some experience. Do you have anything open for me, right? So that's one thing. But I think giving boot campers the opportunity to do everything is fantastic, because in that you're going to find what you like, what you don't like, what your strength is, what your weakness is, and then you're going to figure out how to work around all of those different forces. And I think that as long as you keep doing that, you're going to keep, as a company, finding value. And I think the boot camper will also find value, which is just as important, right? And then my last thought on that is to only get Robert Morris people. I'm just kidding.
Let's go, Bobby Moe.
Yep.
There you go.
That's definitely what I think.
So the first thing that the people at Bobby Moe have to learn is how to pronounce what the center is, right?
Sewell.
The
seawall.
Yeah.
It's not there anymore.
Not
It's
there anymore.
Okay.
UPMC now, so
Well, there you go.
nice and easy.
I was quoting from, was it Merritt's speech? Is that what it was?
Mm-hmm.
So Annie is very loyal to the Robert Morris crew, and she introduced me to, she the class president?
Yeah.
She was class president. In her speech, she talked about how as freshmen people would come in and pronounce Seawall instead of Sewell Center. So, well, thanks to Robert Morris for connecting us with Annie and Sophie and Merritt and Jonathan Potts. And, other than like Indiana University of Pennsylvania, it's a pretty great place. So we're happy about Robert Morris and our connection there. So thanks for being the first ever No BS Marketing Boot Camper.
Thank you.
That's history. Like 20 years from now, I want you to come back and we'll have a boot camp and you'll go, I was the first one. You got a legacy to live up to.
And you make sure that you make those calls 3 weeks in advance.
Mike's right. So's Dave.
Yep.
Thanks to our listeners for listening to this special episode of the No BS Marketing Show with Sophie Eureka, the first ever No BS Marketing Boot Camper. Remember, ask yourself, what's the big idea, and build your story around it, around the answer. It's all about bold solutions, no BS. I'm going to have to redo that close again.
I don't think so. That was fine.
Okay. All right. I keep messing the close up. All right. See you later. I wonder who was pounding those nails in.
Oh my God.